My billionaire cousin left me a $25 million inheritance. Now I'm rich, but my family is suing me for the money. I was just a regular guy, working a 9-to-5 job, scraping by with student loans and rent. My life was routine, predictable, and honestly, a bit boring. That all changed one random Tuesday when I got a call from a lawyer. Apparently, my rich cousin, who I'd only met a few times at family gatherings, had left me a $30 million inheritance. I didn't even know he liked me. At first, I thought it was a scam. I mean, who gets those kinds of calls, right? But the lawyer was legit, and the paperwork was all in order. My cousin had passed away suddenly and had no immediate family, so he left everything to me. Suddenly, I went from barely getting by to being a millionaire. The news spread through the family like wildfire. Relatives I hadn't heard from in years came out of the woodwork, acting like we were best friends. My phone was blowing up with messages and calls, all full of congratulations and not-so-subtle hints about catching up or needing a little help. My immediate family was no different. My parents were thrilled, of course, but my siblings, not so much. My older brother, who had always been the golden child, was suddenly acting all buddy-buddy with me, dropping hints about his investments and how a small loan could really help him out. My younger sister, who never really paid much attention to me, was suddenly inviting me to all her plans, expecting me to foot the bill for everything. It was overwhelming. I didn't know who to trust or what to do with the money. I mean, I was just a regular guy a week ago. I ended up hiring a financial advisor to help me figure things out. They suggested I invest a big chunk of the money and only use a small portion for immediate needs and fun. As the days turned into weeks, the craziness only escalated. I decided to take a vacation to clear my mind. I booked a first-class ticket to the Maldives and stayed at one of those overwater bungalows you see in travel magazines. It was pure luxury, but even there, I couldn't escape the drama. One evening, while lounging on the deck, I got a call from my high school ex-girlfriend, Lucy. We hadn't spoken in years, but there she was, reminiscing about old times and hinting at a reunion. She mentioned she had seen my new fortune on social media, and I could tell she was angling for a piece of the pie. I politely declined her offer to meet up, but it left me feeling even more isolated. Back home, things were getting weirder. My neighbors, who used to barely say hello, started treating me like a celebrity. One of them even asked if I could sponsor their kid's soccer team. Then there was the guy from my local coffee shop who suddenly wanted to pitch me his startup idea. It was a whirlwind of people trying to latch onto my newfound wealth. The biggest shock came from within my family. My parents, bless them, were supportive and didn't ask for anything. They just wanted me to be happy. But my siblings, they turned it into a competition. My brother Tom, who had always prided himself on being the successful one, couldn't stand that I was now the rich one. He started showing up at family dinners with fancy gifts, trying to one-up me. My sister Emily took a different approach. She played the sympathy card, telling me about her financial struggles and how a bit of help could change her life. I caved and gave her some money, hoping it would ease the tension, but it only made things worse. She began to see me as a never-ending ATM. One night, there was a knock on my door. I opened it to find a man in a suit, holding a briefcase. He introduced himself as Mr. Smith, a private investigator. My cousin, it seemed, had some unfinished business. According to Mr. Smith, my cousin had hidden a stash of rare valuable coins somewhere, and no one knew where. He offered his services to help me find them, for a hefty fee, of course. I was intrigued but skeptical. This sounded like something out of a movie. I agreed to let him investigate, mainly because I had nothing to lose. Over the next few weeks, he uncovered a series of clues my cousin had left behind. It was like a treasure hunt, leading us to various locations my cousin had frequented. The hunt took us to old family cabins, abandoned warehouses, and even a secret safe deposit box. Each clue was more cryptic than the last, but eventually, we pieced it together. The final clue led us to an old, dilapidated farmhouse on the outskirts of town. Hidden in the cellar was a metal box filled with rare coins and old currency notes worth an estimated $500,000. Finding the treasure was exhilarating, but it also added to the chaos. News of the discovery leaked, and suddenly, I was back in the spotlight. Media outlets wanted interviews, coin collectors were hounding me, and distant relatives popped up, claiming they deserved a share. It was madness. The media frenzy was the worst part. I was never one for the limelight, but now, every move I made was scrutinized. Paparazzi camped outside my house, and tabloids ran stories about my wild lifestyle. Some of it was true. I did splurge on a few luxury items, but most of it was blown out of proportion. One particularly ridiculous story claimed I had bought a private island and was planning to start my own country. I laughed it off, but the sheer absurdity of it all was exhausting. I started to miss my old, quiet life. Amidst the chaos, I realized I needed to find balance. I couldn't keep living in this filthy rich lifestyle. I decided to give back to the community. I started by funding scholarships for underprivileged students at my local university. It felt good to make a positive impact. I also invested in local businesses, hoping to boost the economy in my hometown. Just when I thought life was getting back to normal, I received a mysterious letter. It was from an unknown sender, claiming to be a close friend of my cousin. The letter hinted at a secret my cousin had kept hidden, something even more valuable than the coins we had found. Curiosity got the better of me. I followed the instructions in the letter, which led me to a hidden compartment in my cousin's old study. Inside, I found a journal detailing my cousin's involvement in a groundbreaking tech startup. He had invested heavily in its early stages, and it was now on the brink of a major breakthrough. The journal included stock certificates and contact information for the company's CEO. I reached out, and after some negotiations, I became a significant shareholder. The company was developing cutting-edge AI technology, and its value skyrocketed within months. My initial inheritance had now grown exponentially. I now had about $70 million. I was beginning to feel secure in my new life. Another unexpected event threw everything into disarray. I received a call from a woman named Clara, claiming to be my cousin's long-lost daughter. She said she had proof of her identity and wanted to meet. Skeptical but intrigued, I agreed to meet her at a local cafe. Clara arrived with a box of old letters and photographs, each piece corroborating her story. It seemed my cousin had a secret family he never told anyone about. Clara was his daughter from a brief relationship in college, and she had been searching for him for years. Just as Clara and I were settling into our new roles, my family decided to sue me for a share of the inheritance, claiming they were entitled to it as well. They argued that as my cousin's family, they deserved a portion of the fortune, including the newly discovered assets and the tech startup shares. The lawsuit came out of nowhere. One day, I received a formal notice delivered to my doorstep. Tom, Emily, and a few distant relatives had banded together, hiring a high-profile attorney to represent their case. They claimed I had manipulated the situation to keep all the wealth to myself, ignoring their rights as my cousin's family. The court case quickly became a media sensation. Reporters camped outside the courthouse, eager to catch every twist and turn. The trial was filled with drama and tension as my family presented their case. They painted a picture of me as a greedy, selfish relative who had unfairly hoarded the inheritance. Tom took the stand first, delivering a heartfelt speech about family loyalty and the hardships they had endured. He emphasized that our cousin's wealth should be shared among all family members, not just me. Emily followed, tearfully recounting her financial struggles and how the inheritance could change her life. Their attorney argued that family bonds and obligations meant the inheritance should be distributed equally. Desperate to prove their point, my family resorted to increasingly bizarre tactics. Tom organized a protest outside my house, complete with signs and chants demanding family justice. They even hired a skywriter to fly over my neighborhood, spelling out "Family First" in giant letters across the sky. Emily took things a step further. She appeared on a popular talk show, telling her side of the story and painting me as the villain. She claimed I had turned my back on the family and was living a lavish lifestyle while they struggled. The public sympathy swung in their favor, and I found myself under intense scrutiny. After this drama continued for weeks, and I had finally won the case, my family won no money, and they were devastated. In one last effort to get their hands on some money, they called and texted me nonstop, asking for money. They even went as far as to stalk me constantly. And every time I was alone, they would run up to me and ask me for money. They acted all nice, even buying me chocolates and flowers, but I seen through their lies. In the end, I now have over $85 million from growing the company more, and my family is broke mostly from all the court expenses and time they took off from their jobs.